With the 30th pick in the 2020 NFL Draft, the Detroit Lions select Tariq Black, wide receiver, Michigan. Welcome back to the One Pride Report here on 87.9 Sports Talk. The training camp is just about to get wrapped up, and we're going to take a look at this Lions schedule first and take a look at the team after that. So the season starts out at Tampa Bay, then at home against the Seahawks on Sunday Night Football, then at the Packers, at the Redskins on Sunday Night Football. Man, that's going to be a great game. At home against the Titans on Thursday Night Football, a bye week. At home against the Falcons, at home against the Vikings, at the Jaguars, at home against the Panthers, that on Monday and Sunday Night Football. At the Bears, Thanksgiving is going to be at home against the Texans. The next week is at home against the Packers, then at the Saints, at the Colts, at home against the Bears, and at the Vikings to wrap up the season. So, looking at the schedule overall, it seems like an schedule. Some teams may be a little bit better than they were last season. Well, a lot of teams are going to change their records from last season. We saw them change the records from the 2018 season to the 2019 season, and a lot of the tough teams Lions looked like they would be going up against had bad years, allowing the Lions to go 11-5. But if you saw the free agency recap, the Lions did not do much in free agency at all. In fact, they only signed one player, that being former Houston quarterback Greg Ward. And first off, shout out to the Lions for allowing us to take some of their training camp practices. Here was a practice yesterday between the first team offense and the first team defense. But anyways, yeah, only one signing in free agency for the Lions. That would be Greg Ward. And after a meh draft by the Lions, you don't feel that optimistic about the team. I mean, obviously, this is a good team. You know, you don't just win a playoff game off of a fluke. But you just don't know if they'll be able to take the next step this season with the weapons that they added, especially after the okay draft at best, I think. Looking at the quarterback position, Caleb Henderson, we know about him and his season last year. 45 touchdowns, 8 interceptions, the NFC Offensive Player of the Year, NFC Offensive Rookie of the Year. And this offseason, he put in a ton of work. First off, he worked with former Tigers pitcher Justin Verlander and former Saints quarterback Drew Brees to improve his velocity on throws. And you're definitely going to see a change. In fact, you can already see a change looking at this footage in how fast the ball will get to the receivers. Henderson, last year, a lot of passes of his fluttered. They took a while to get to their intended destination. But I think this year you're going to be able to see Henderson maybe be able to fit some passes in tighter windows. Last year, a lot of his throws were into open space and where no one else was around. And if there were defenders around, normally Henderson would just throw the ball away or just take a sack in that situation. But you're going to be able to see him make some tighter throws. Now, there was some concern that Henderson was partying a little too much with his new girlfriend, Amanda Cerny, and Johnny Manziel, who is still on the Lions as the backup quarterback, by the way. But Henderson, he talked to the media yesterday, and he said he thinks that partying stuff is bunk. He's been working hard, he's been studying in the playbook, and we did not have a chance to reach him for comment today for this preview. Henderson has really been putting in work this offseason to become an even better quarterback than he was after his rookie season, which is a really, really good sight for Lions fans. I mean, it's going to be hard to improve upon a 45-8 touchdown interception ratio and nearly winning the MVP in your rookie year, but Henderson will be trying to do so for the Lions. Next up, we're going to look at halfback, and that would be Samaje Perine. Now, the one thing to note for Perine was his last season a fluke. Perine has not stayed healthy a full season other than last year, and even last year he fumbled the ball 5 times. So you get a little bit concerned when thinking about Samaje Perine as putting all his eggs in his basket as a franchise halfback. I think he can be one. He has the potential to be one, but number one, he's got to hold on to the football. has to do that. That was a big weakness of his last season. And number two, got to stay healthy. But if he can do both of those things, I think he's going to have another great season. I don't know why he wouldn't, especially with the passing game opening things up and Henderson being able to push the ball, I guess, more downfield. You know, he can't throw past 30 yards because it's kind of hard for a quarterback to increase his arm strength. But Henderson, he has great anticipation on throws. As you can see right there, he'll throw a lot of passes early and be able to lead receivers into open space, something that many quarterbacks with stronger arms can't do, and that's why Henderson's able to compensate for his lack of arm strength. But I do think that Samaje Perine will have another good season, barring injury or fumbles. Now, looking at the receiving core, the Lions, of course, drafted Tariq Black in the first round to be the new number one receiver. Noah Brown, simply last year, he wasn't cutting it. You know, there were some situations where you wanted a guy like Noah Brown to go up and win those jump balls. I think that 4th down and 21 against the Packers comes to mind. Henderson just had to throw it up for grabs. You expect your number one receiver to come down with it, and while it's not ideal for him to make a jump ball catch and moss a defender, it's something that in that situation you kind of need him to do. And the Lions have that guy now in Tariq Black. We've seen Black make some simply spectacular catches in training camp so far, and he looks like a stud. I'm not going to say he's the next Megatron because he's not nearly as fast, and to be quite honest, there's never going to be another Megatron. But Tariq Black is finally another big-bodied number one receiver that Caleb Henderson can rely on in those tough situations like jump balls. Obviously right there he did not come down with the catch, but he can make those catches if you give him the chance. If there's one-on-one coverage, more often than not, you're going to see Tariq Black come down with the football. He's 6'4", I believe, 204. He needs to bulk up a little bit more, but overall, he is a very good player, and I think he's going to be in that number one receiver that the Lions want him to be. Now, looking at the other receivers on the team, Noah Brown will be the number 2 receiver this year. The Lions did not get Noah Brown too involved last season. We'll see if they get him more involved this year. That's the hope, at least for the offense. And D.D. Westbrook. Now, Westbrook spent all offseason working on his hands. We know that the one gripe about D.D. Westbrook was his hands, and that there were numerous plays where he dropped passes for potential first downs, touchdowns, you name it. There were way too many drops for D.D. Westbrook last year, even despite a spectacular season. And this offseason, all Westbrook has been doing is catching the football. Literally every day, you know, different quarterbacks like Caleb Henderson, Johnny Manziel, John O'Corn, Tate Martell, 7th round pick, they'll stay after practice for about maybe an hour or so to throw about 50 passes to D.D. Westbrook to help him catch the football. He has been working on his hands religiously, and I really do think that drops will not be an issue whatsoever for D.D. Westbrook. And that will be huge. If you cut out D.D. Westbrook's drops last year, I think Westbrook leads the NFL in receiving yards. He probably breaks the touchdown record, and he probably has 90 receptions. And I'm not kidding when I say that. There were way too many drops for D.D. Westbrook that could have gone for potential touchdowns. So if he can catch those passes this year, man, oh man, you need to watch out for him. He might break some records. Other than that, Corey Smith is now a number 4 wide receiver, which is more where he belongs. He kind of showed his weaknesses with drops himself towards the end of last season, and that's why he got relegated to that role. At tight end, Trey Burton is very, very good. He's a massive upgrade over the clown Eric Ebron, and he is very reliable over in the middle. So that is good. Dwayne Clarkson, however, he barely saw the field last year, and this year in training camp, all this man has done is drop passes. So I'm very concerned about him. The offensive line. Now, on paper, this looks like a very good offensive line. But in training camp, I mean, these guys have been getting manhandled by the D-line. You can see it in the practice footage. You can see how many times guys like Tahuma and Taylor Decker are getting beaten as Tariq Black makes a ridiculous catch right there. But you can see just how many times guys like Decker and Tahuma are getting beaten almost immediately. And that's ridiculous. You want to see the offensive line play better. There is absolutely no run blocking by the offensive line all training camp, which is, again, ridiculous. And they need to improve that. So hopefully they will look better in the regular season. That is at least a hope, because if they don't, this Lions team is pretty screwed. Now, looking at the D-line, Dante Fowler. Now, Fowler looked very good in training camp, but he looked very good in training camp last year before he managed to register 3 sacks all season, which is simply ridiculous. I think that Ziggy Ansah, he's a year older now. I don't know how he's going to play. I don't know how much he's going to regress. We'll see in the first preseason game and week 1, week 2, and down the line through the season. The defensive tackles, Ashawn Robinson and Jacob Henderson, are both very good, and they're actually able to get after the quarterback even better than I think guys like Ziggy Ansah and Dante Fowler, especially Ashawn Robinson. I believe he had, more sacks than, he had most sacks on the team. That's what I'm trying to say here. And he really came alive towards the end of the season. He forced 2 fumbles on Brian Lewerke in the final game. I mean, he was the man possessed, and he's also very good at run stuffing. But now taking a look at the linebackers, it's the same 3. It's Whitehead, Stephon Anthony, and DeAndre Levy. Problem is, Tahir Whitehead and DeAndre Levy are both a year older, with Levy being 33 years old. Whitehead is now 30. And look at the offensive line, just pathetic in this preseason scrimmage. But anyways, the linebacking core is solid. We'll see how much the regression really hits guys like DeAndre Levy. I don't think it'll hit Whitehead that much, and I definitely don't think it'll hit Anthony that much. He's only 28 years old at this point. It'll strike more next season for guys like Stephon Anthony, but I think a couple more good years should be expected out of him. But we'll see how much DeAndre Levy has left in the tank. Unfortunately, the Lions were unable to find another good linebacker. That was their intended pick in the first round, but they just all went right before the Lions selection, which is some of the non-perks, I guess, of picking that low in the draft. But it is what it is. So the Lions just got to roll with the punches. They have to roll with who they have. Hopefully DeAndre Levy is good. He looked good in training camp. And anyway, let's get to the LOB now. The Detroit LOB, probably the biggest part of this defense. And we all know the 2 safeties who are very, very solid. That being the rookie Brandon Jones, who led the team with 103 tackles last year. And Malik Hooker, the former number 6 overall pick in the 2018 NFL Draft. He is a beast. Now, the question marks, I think, are at the cornerback position. We do know that Darius Slay is a true shutdown corner, but the problem is he's 29 now. So Slay may start to lose a step possibly. You never know with cornerbacks. I don't think he will, but he could. That's just in theory. Then in the slot corner, Marcus Jordan, he's 29 as well. He might lose a step. He wasn't fast to begin with. Now that he's getting up there in age, he might lose a step. Possibly. We'll see. But obviously the Lions were unable to address number 2 corner, and that is going to be a major problem. Because 90% of the time on that right side of the field, quarterbacks could throw that way at will. They could throw that way at will, and they would have tons and tons of success. Because Teez Tabor is he's garbage. There's not much else to put it that way. He's just garbage. He is terrible. We waited, I think, a long time for him to progress into something good, and he is not. He has not progressed into anything good. He had a couple of great games where he played well, but other than that, he's done nothing. And he looks as bad as he did last year as he did his rookie season, which is pretty terrible. The Lions still need a number 2 corner, and that's definitely going to be a concern. I don't think Teez Tabor is going to resign. It's a contract year for him. I don't think he's getting resigned, to be quite honest with you. And it sucks because he was the former top 5 pick. Lions could have drafted a Desmond King, a Dalvin Cook in that position, but, and they wasted their pick. And, I guess it is what it is. And, it hasn't hurt the Lions too much to this point, I guess you could say, because in the NFC Championship game, the entire team collapsed. But there's been games where, if T. Tabor could have held his own, at least somewhat well, on that right side of the field, the Lions might have been able to win that game. And it just sucks that he's still out there starting, and the Lions still have not found a replacement for him. But that's pretty much it for the starters on the team, other than the special teams guys, Jason Myers and Sam Martin. The others guys, they're going to stay the same. And coming up, the next video on the One Pride Report will be previewing the 2020 NFL season and all 32 teams rostered, and kind of giving you guys a chance to see who has, I guess, the best chance at the Super Bowl. I got the idea from Moonlight Swami and Beast Mode TV. I thought that was a really cool series that they did, so I thought I wanted to do the same thing, especially considering we're in an entirely new decade by now. This is year 5, and there's been a lot of generate rookies that have gone a lot of new places. And, well, that's about it. So that video should be coming your way tomorrow. I hope you guys are ready for Season 5 of the Detroit Lions franchise, and stay tuned for more Lions content.